In my 15 years of clinical practice as a urologist and andrologist, I have observed a fascinating phenomenon that goes far beyond medical offices: the dynamics of relationships between younger women and older men. As a healthcare professional, specialized in sexual medicine, I can affirm that there is a solid scientific basis behind this attraction that often intrigues our society. The first aspect we need to understand is the biological and psychological evolution of human beings. Studies in neuroscience demonstrate that the male brain reaches its complete emotional maturity around the age of 40, while women achieve this stage earlier, usually between 25 and 30 years old. This difference in neurological development creates an interesting synchronicity when we talk about couples with a significant age difference. In my experience treating couples in my office, I frequently observe how emotional maturity manifests in practical ways. Older men have developed, over the years, an increased capacity to regulate their emotions, demonstrate empathy, and communicate their feelings more effectively. These skills are extremely attractive to women who seek deeper and more meaningful relationships. From a hormonal perspective, there are also interesting factors to consider. The male endocrine system undergoes gradual changes over the years, resulting in more stable testosterone levels after the age of 40. This hormonal stability often translates into more consistent and predictable behaviors, something that many women value in a partner. During my lectures at international conferences, I always highlight how brain neuroplasticity influences our attraction patterns. The human brain is constantly evolving and adapting to lived experiences. Older men, having gone through more life experiences, have developed more complex neural networks related to emotional intelligence and conflict resolution. A fascinating aspect that I observe in my clinical practice is how brain chemistry manifests in these relationships. Oxytocin levels, known as the love hormone, tend to be more stable in relationships where there is a significant age difference. This can be attributed to the older partner's greater ability to create an environment of emotional security. In Zeitram, my academic research, I have documented how relationship satisfaction is more related to emotional and intellectual compatibility than to chronological age. The couples who demonstrate greater satisfaction are those who manage to establish effective communication and share fundamental values, regardless of the age difference. During consultations in my office, I often discuss with couples how emotional maturity influences physical intimacy. Older men tend to have a more holistic approach to sexuality, understanding that sexual satisfaction is intrinsically linked to emotional connection and the overall well-being of the couple. Modern neuroscience shows us that the brain continues to develop and adapt throughout life. This process of neurological maturation contributes to a greater ability to understand the needs of others, something that older men have often developed through their life experiences. As a doctor specializing in sexual health, I observe that satisfaction in relationships is much more related to the ability to create deep emotional connections than to the age of the partners. Emotional maturity, which often comes with age, allows for a deeper understanding of the other's needs and a greater ability to nurture a healthy relationship. In my lectures, I always emphasize that each relationship is unique and should be evaluated on its own merits. Age difference is just one of many factors that influence a couple's dynamics, and often it is not the most determining factor for the success of the relationship. Emotional maturity is a fundamental aspect that I frequently observe in my clinical practice when treating couples with a significant age difference. As a doctor specializing in men's health, I have documented numerous cases where this maturity manifests in surprisingly positive ways in the relationship. In my office, I regularly see couples that demonstrate how emotional stability translates into healthier relationships. A striking example was when I received a 28-year-old patient, a psychologist, who shared her experience with a 45-year-old partner. She highlighted how his ability to deal with conflicts constructively completely transformed her view of relationships. Effective communication is another fundamental pillar that I observe in these relationships. Older men, through their previous experiences, have developed more refined communication skills. They have learned to express their feelings and needs clearly and respectfully, creating an environment where their partners feel safe to do the same. During the support groups I coordinate at my hospital, we often discuss how emotional maturity manifests in small daily actions. It's seemingly simple gestures, such as knowing how to listen without judgment, offering support without trying to solve all problems, or simply being present in difficult moments, that make a significant difference in the quality of the relationship. In my academic research, I have documented how emotional stability contributes to more lasting relationships. Older men have usually gone through their phases of self-discovery and identity construction, allowing them to focus more energy on developing and maintaining meaningful connections. The ability to offer consistent emotional support is another aspect that deserves highlight. In my clinical experience, I observe that more mature men have developed a greater capacity for empathy and understanding of their partner's emotional needs. They understand the importance of being present not only in moments of joy, but also during challenges. During the counseling sessions I conduct, we often discuss how emotional maturity is reflected in the ability to establish and respect healthy boundaries. Older men usually have a clearer understanding of their own limitations and those of their partners, allowing for the development of more balanced relationships. The emotional intelligence developed over the years also manifests in how these men deal with differences and conflicts. Instead of reacting impulsively, they tend to approach challenges with more calm and consideration, seeking solutions that benefit both partners. In my studies on relational dynamics, I have observed how emotional maturity contributes to greater overall satisfaction in the relationship. Couples where the older partner demonstrates high emotional intelligence report higher levels of satisfaction in various aspects of the relationship, from communication to physical intimacy. The ability to create an emotionally safe environment is a skill that I frequently observe in more mature men. They understand the importance of nurturing a space where their partners can express themselves freely, without fear of judgment or rejection. As a health professional specializing in relationships, I always emphasize that emotional maturity is a quality that develops with time and experience. Older men have had more opportunities to develop this maturity, which often makes them more capable partners for building and maintaining healthy and satisfactory relationships. As a doctor specializing in sexual medicine, one of the most fascinating aspects I observe in relationships with an age difference is how intimacy develops in a multidimensional way. In my clinical practice, I have documented how couples with this dynamic often develop a connection that transcends the purely physical aspects of the relationship. Intimacy, in its deepest essence, is built through layers of trust, mutual understanding, and effective communication. In my consultations, I observe that more mature men usually have a more sophisticated understanding of this concept. They understand that true intimate connection begins long before physical contact, manifesting through everyday gestures of affection and attention. During the workshops I conduct on sexual health, we often discuss how life experience contributes to a more holistic approach to intimacy. Older men, having experienced different types of relationships, have developed a deeper appreciation for the importance of balance between emotional and physical connection. In my clinical experience, I observe that these relationships tend to develop their own language of intimacy. It's the small daily rituals, a loving message in the middle of the day, a gentle touch of reassurance, or simply the act of listening with full attention, that build a solid foundation for physical intimacy. Neuroscience shows us that the brain processes emotional and physical intimacy through the same neural networks. In my lectures, I always highlight how oxytocin, the bonding hormone, is released not only during physical contact, but also in moments of deep emotional connection. More mature men, with their accumulated experience, are often more skilled at creating situations that stimulate this positive brain chemistry. During the counseling sessions I conduct, many couples report how the patience and understanding of the older partner contribute to more meaningful intimacy. There's no rush or pressure. The focus is on building a genuine and lasting connection, respecting each other's time and boundaries. In my academic research on relational dynamics, I have documented how emotional maturity directly influences the quality of intimacy. Older partners generally demonstrate a greater ability to be present in the moment, appreciating every aspect of the connection without anxiety about the future or comparisons with the past. Communication about intimacy also tends to be more open and honest in these relationships. In my office, I observe that more mature men are generally more comfortable openly discussing their needs and desires, creating an environment where their partners also feel safe to do the same. A particularly interesting aspect that I observe in my clinical practice is how these couples develop a deeper understanding of non-sexual intimacy. The simple act of sharing comfortable silences, enjoying each other's company in everyday activities, or offering emotional support in moments of vulnerability, all contribute to a deeper and more meaningful connection. The experience accumulated over the years is also reflected in the ability to create meaningful, intimate moments. Older men often demonstrate a more refined understanding of the importance of environment, timing, and emotional context in building memorable, intimate experiences. As a health professional specializing in relationships, I always emphasize that true intimacy is built day by day, through small gestures of love and understanding. The age difference, when combined with emotional maturity and mutual respect, can create a particularly fertile environment for the development of deep and lasting intimacy. In my experience as a doctor specializing in men's health and relationships, I have observed that, like any other type of union, relationships with a significant age difference face their own unique challenges. However, what makes these relationships particularly interesting is how couples approach and overcome these obstacles. During my consultations, we often discuss how generational differences can impact relationship dynamics. Distinct cultural references, values formed in different eras, and varied worldviews can create moments of misunderstanding. However, I observe that successful couples transform these differences into opportunities for mutual growth and learning. In my support groups, I always emphasize how open and honest communication is fundamental to overcoming any challenge. Couples who maintain a constant dialogue about their expectations, fears, and aspirations manage to build solid bridges between their different life experiences. It's fascinating to observe how older partners often demonstrate an exceptional capacity for adaptation and willingness to learn from their younger partners. Social pressure is another aspect that we frequently address in my counseling sessions. Many couples face external judgments and unsolicited opinions about their choice of partner. However, I have documented how the emotional maturity of the older partner, combined with the determination of the younger partner, allows them to develop effective strategies to deal with these situations. In my academic research on relational dynamics, I observe that couples with a significant age difference often develop extraordinary resilience. They learn to value their unique connection and focus on the positive aspects that their age difference brings to the relationship, such as the combination of energy and experience, enthusiasm and wisdom. During the workshops I conduct on relationship health, I always highlight the importance of establishing common goals, even when partners are at different stages of life. It's inspiring to see how couples manage to align their aspirations and create plans that contemplate the needs and desires of both. The issue of life pace also deserves special attention. In my clinical practice, I observe that partners in different age groups may have distinct energy levels and preferences regarding activities and routines. However, successful couples find a balance that respects these differences, creating a dynamic that works for both. Family issues are another aspect that we frequently address in the office. Integration with different family circles, possibly including children from previous relationships, requires patience and skill. It's remarkable how the emotional maturity of the older partner often facilitates this complex navigation. In my lectures on relationship health, I always emphasize how age difference can be a source of mutual enrichment. The younger partner brings new perspectives and keeps the relationship dynamic, while the older one offers stability and wisdom acquired through experience. The issue of independence and autonomy is another topic we regularly discuss in the office. It's fundamental that both partners maintain their individuality and pursue their own goals, even when they are at different stages of life. I observe that successful couples find a balance between sharing experiences and maintaining personal spaces. As a health professional specializing in relationships, I always emphasize that each challenge overcome further strengthens the bond between the couple. The ability to face adversities together, supporting each other, and growing through difficulties is one of the most beautiful marks of these relationships. As a doctor specializing in health and relationships, I frequently observe that one of the most important aspects of relationships with an age difference is conscious future planning. In my clinical practice, I dedicate special attention to helping couples build realistic expectations and plans that contemplate the needs of both partners. During the counseling sessions I conduct, I always emphasize the importance of openly discussing each person's life aspirations. It's fascinating to observe how couples with a significant age difference often manage to create plans that harmonize different stages of life. The older partner, with their experience and stability, can offer valuable guidance, while the younger one brings new perspectives and energy to realize these plans. In my support groups, we regularly address how financial planning is fundamental to the couple's peace of mind. The economic stability usually achieved by the older partner can be a positive factor, as long as there is clear communication about shared expectations and responsibilities. I observe that successful couples develop a balanced approach, where both contribute in significant ways to their common future. The issue of professional development is another aspect that deserves special attention. In my clinical experience, I notice that older partners often assume an informal mentoring role, sharing knowledge and experiences that can benefit the younger partner's professional growth. However, it's crucial to maintain a balance where both can develop their careers independently. During the workshops I conduct on family planning, I always highlight the importance of openly discussing desires and expectations related to children. Couples with an age difference need to consider various factors, including biological and practical aspects. It's inspiring to see how many couples manage to find creative and satisfactory solutions to realize their family dreams. In my academic research on relational dynamics, I have documented how planning free time and leisure is essential for the couple's harmony. Partners in different age groups may have distinct interests and energy levels, but I observe that successful couples find a balance that satisfies both, creating special moments that strengthen their connection. The issue of health and well-being is another topic we frequently address in the office. It's important that both partners have a realistic understanding of aspects related to aging and maintain healthy habits that contribute to a long and active life together. I observe that couples who approach this topic openly and proactively tend to build more solid foundations for their future. In my lectures on life planning, I always emphasize how flexibility and adaptability are fundamental. Life circumstances can change, and it's important that the couple maintains open communication about their plans and is willing to make adjustments when necessary. The emotional maturity of the older partner often facilitates these adaptations. The integration of social circles and the building of a common support network is another aspect that deserves attention in future planning. In my clinical practice, I observe that successful couples manage to create a social environment that welcomes their unique dynamic, maintaining meaningful relationships with people of different age groups. Planning for retirement and later stages of life is also a topic we frequently address in the office. It's important that the couple has clarity about how they intend to live these phases, and that they develop strategies to ensure that both have security and quality of life in the future. As a health professional specializing in relationships, I always emphasize that future planning should be an ongoing and flexible process. The most important thing is to maintain open and honest communication, where both partners can express their needs and desires, building together a path that leads to the realization of their shared dreams. In my trajectory as a doctor specializing in health and relationships, I have witnessed how true love transcends conventional barriers, including age. Through years of clinical observation and research, I can state with conviction that relationships with a significant age difference can be as healthy, satisfactory, and lasting as any other when built on solid foundations of respect, understanding, and mutual love. During my consultations, I frequently observe how these relationships challenge social stereotypes and prejudices. Modern society is gradually recognizing that emotional, intellectual, and value compatibility is much more relevant to the success of a relationship than age proximity. In my clinical practice, I have documented numerous cases where age difference has proven to be an enriching factor, bringing complementarity and balance to the couple. In my support groups, I always emphasize how each relationship is unique and should be evaluated on its own merits. Emotional maturity, Effective communication skills, mutual respect, and commitment to joint growth are much more determining factors for the success of a relationship than numbers on birth certificates. During the workshops I conduct on relationship health, we frequently discuss how the modern perspective on love and relationships is evolving. Contemporary society is increasingly open to different relationship configurations, recognizing that authentic love can flourish in various circumstances. This shift in mentality has created a more welcoming environment for couples with age differences. In my academic research on modern relational dynamics, I have observed a growing trend of couples prioritizing the quality of emotional connection over traditional social conventions. Experience has shown that successful relationships are those where partners choose each other not for age, but for shared values, goals, and a common vision of life. The most gratifying aspect of my clinical practice is witnessing how these relationships can thrive when built on solid foundations. The combination of experience and fresh perspectives, wisdom and enthusiasm, stability and vital energy creates a unique dynamic that can profoundly enrich the lives of both partners. In my lectures on modern relationships, I always highlight how authenticity and the courage to follow one's heart are fundamental. Couples who manage to overcome the fear of social judgment and remain true to their feelings often develop extraordinarily strong and satisfying relationships. The issue of mutual support takes on a special dimension in these relationships. In my clinical experience, I observe that partners at different stages of life can offer unique support to each other, creating a truly complementary partnership where both grow and develop together. As a health professional specializing in relationships, I have the privilege of following inspiring stories of couples who have defied social conventions in the name of true love. These stories teach us that when there is a genuine connection, mutual respect, and commitment to joint growth, age becomes just a number. The future of relationships with age differences looks promising as society evolves towards a more nuanced and inclusive understanding of love. In my clinical practice, I observe a growing number of couples who feel more confident in living their feelings openly, contributing to a positive change in the social perception of these relationships. As a conclusion from my extensive experience in this area, I can affirm that true love knows no age limits. When built on solid foundations of respect, understanding, and mutual commitment, a relationship with an age difference can be an extraordinary source of happiness, growth, and fulfillment for both partners.